I'm back. So look, you guys, I posted up the other day that I had took the castor oil in. I had my baby. Yes, I did. I had my baby that night. Um, so let's jump right into it because it was crazy. Okay. Started out, okay, so about, let me see, about 5-ish, 5 p.m. or something like that, something around there. I took the castor oil. I took an eighth cup and I poured it just in some juice and I drank that down. So I was just chilling, maybe around, I want to say around about around 10 or so, I started having diarrhea. So I was running back and forth to the toilet and relieving myself. And I did have cramps too. So I was like, but during the time I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work because I did some research, of course, me always researching, and it has said it's a 50-50 chance your body had to be ready. But me, I was 41 weeks and 1 day, so of course I was ready, right? I felt like it, so but I had a 50-50 chance. So during the time, I'm like, man, this shit ain't gonna work or whatever. I'm saying this ain't gonna work. And so I just kept going to the bathroom, and then maybe around about close to 12, close to 12-ish, the pain started changing over. It started turning into something else. It started turning into like, it started turning into pains. So I'm like, and I'm going through this maybe for about, I'm going to say a good almost 30 minutes or so, 30, 40 minutes, right? So I'm like, okay, is this just like gas or what is it? Because I don't know. I didn't know, right? And so I'm like, man, it's just gas or whatever. But then as I'm like going on or whatever, I'm just like, all right, the pains are starting to get like, they're starting to get more intense, right? So I'm like, and I'm in there like, I'm by myself or whatever, and my husband's like laying down. So I'm like, all right, now I'm getting irritated, like I'm getting pissed off, right? Because I was kind of like around here moaning, and my husband wasn't like, getting up to be like, are you okay, right? He's just fucking laying in the bed and shit, right? So I had to go in there, and I'm like, hey, like, you ain't gonna get up to see what's going on, with me. And so he got up. He was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Man, I don't know. I don't know." Right. So then I'm just like, so then the contractions started coming, right? And they started coming quicker, and I started timing myself before I had actually got him up or whatever, right? And so the contractions was coming, and they were coming like quicker, and then like now it's like past 12 o'clock, right? So it's like it to one. So I'm like, nah, this is labor. I'm like, yeah. I said, I'm doing this. This is it. We're going into labor. But I'm like, wait, but my water haven't broke or nothing, right? So I want to say about like 1:30. Next thing you know, like I'm on my bed because now at this point I'm walking up and down my house, like I'm walking through my house or whatever. I'm on my labor ball, right? I'm doing rolls on the labor ball. I got in the tub. I'm sitting in the tub. I sat in the tub maybe about 30 minutes or so too. I'm sitting in the tub, laboring in the tub. I'm on the toilet because sitting on the toilet helps you. That position helps you. Being in an upright position helps that baby come down, okay? So I'm sitting on the toilet and I'm like, I'm just doing all these different, I'm just moving around the house. Because laying down was really not the option for me. Once it started, um, once the contraction started building up, um, and they just started getting longer and stronger and quicker, right? Which is, it's time. So my water broke, and I'm like, oh. So I hit my doula, right? And the doula is another story within itself. I'm gonna talk real bad about this. They got me messed up. Cause that trick, she's fired. Fired. Do you hear me? That company is a hell nah. No. But that's another time or whatever. But bottom line with her, the trick didn't show up. Okay? I did all that or whatever and you didn't show up. But on the other hand, when I get to the end, it does matter because she okay, I hit her up and but I actually have a postpartum, somebody that's gonna work for me postpartum now at this point, a postpartum doula. I hit up both of my doulas. I hit up the one that was supposed to work with me during pregnancy, and I hit up the postpartum doula, and I showed them I was like, oh, what is this? Like, cause when my water had broke, I'm gonna show you. Hold on, let me get it. Look, I got all the souvenirs and shit. So it looks bloody, but this is it. This is yeah. So don't ask me why I'm just holding it for a souvenir, but I haven't thrown it away yet. Anyway, so that happened or whatever, and I took a picture of it and I sent it to both doulas, right? My postpartum doula, she was on it. Mind you, it was probably about like 10, 2, I'm going to say 10. I think like it was after 2 a.m. or so. Let's check my phone. Okay, yeah, it was 1:46 a.m. when I hit her up. She hit me back and she was like, oh, it's starting. This is starting. The other one, I didn't hear nothing from her. She didn't say shit. And I had let her know earlier that I was inducing myself. I had let her know that I was doing the castor oil. And and she kind of replied back kind of smart or whatever. She said something like, what did she say? She was like, oh, well, it just came off as smart, I feel like, because I was already kind of not liking her tone, period, before. Like, she kind of started, I don't know, it just was a whole thing, but I don't want to get off into that because it's not about her. But she just basically like, she's like, she's like, what did your midwife say? Did you let your midwife know? And then I hit her back and I said, yeah, Jordan, yeah, Jordan suggested it or whatever. Yeah, she said it was okay, basically. She didn't say nothing back. So fast forwarding back to, that was earlier that day. So fast forwarding to like 1:46. My other doula, she hit me up. She was like, oh, it's starting. She was like, okay, girl, you got this. Woo woo. So she giving me like support, And I never heard from the other one. But guess what? I don't have time to think about this trick, right? Because I am in the heat of the moment. So I'm like focusing on my breathing. Like I said, I'm walking up and down my house, like everywhere, moving all around, being in different places, different positions, because this is tough. Okay. Let me tell you something. I cut off communication with everybody from the outside unless you were my birth team support. Those were the only people that I was talking to. I cut my comments off on IG. I wasn't posting on IG, and when I did post, I was just kind of like sharing my story, basically, sharing a little bit of my story, but I was not commenting to nobody, and it was by design. It was for a specific reason because it was really important that I protected my energy. It was really important that I just limited access to myself, because the mission that I had ahead of myself was something real serious. And in order for me to like really concentrate, I needed to only be talking to those that were talking to me about my pregnancy. That's it. My support team. So just me and my midwife and my doula. That's it. I had other support too from other outside midwives and doulas that I know as well. So, but those were the only people that I was talking to, and I needed it because I'm telling you, like when I started getting like towards so when it started getting to about what time I want to say about two something like two yeah about 2:15 is or whatever a.m. I'm telling you, had I not prepared myself for those 3 months, oh here we go, he didn't woke up. Damn. Oh, my baby is up. Hold on, I gotta go get him because he ain't gonna stop. Okay, so my husband's gonna take care of him. All right, so yeah, so back to what I was saying. If I hadn't prepared myself, Lord knows, about 2:15, I would have been done. Do you hear me? I was like, the pain of it all at that point, I was ready to give it all up. I was like, I'm not going I was like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I was just like, I'm not going to no, I'm like, F the birth center. I'm going to the hospital. I need a freaking epidural. I can't take it. I was like, I just can't, I could not take it. I'm just telling you, I couldn't take it. It was a lot. It was a lot. The pain was so crazy. But all the preparation that I did, it paid off. It really, it did. Because it was just so crazy. I was just like, oh my God. I was like, I need, you know, if I don't know if it's going to get worse. And it did. I was like, I don't know if it's going to get worse or whatever, but I can't take this. I'm going to need that epidural. But, so we were talking to the midwife. We finally hit the midwife up around like 1:45 2 or whatever. So the midwife was like, she was on board. And so about like, I want to say about like 3:30ish or so, she was like, all right, you guys, about 3:15, 3 a.m., 3:50, something like that, right? She was like, all right, you guys start heading. I think start heading over there, right? All right, so this is where good stuff kicks in. So we load up my husband load up all the stuff or whatever, and then and then I get in the car, right? If I tell you, as soon as he gets onto the freeway, I start pushing. Now, I don't start pushing. I'm not purposely pushing. What if you guys are not? I'm pretty sure just to educate you a little bit. When you have when you're birthing a baby, I don't think women know you don't necessarily have to push. Your body is going to naturally do what it has to do to bring that baby down. What happens is when you go to that hospital, they force you to push and to hurry up and, you know, they force you to hurry up and push, and they force you to just hurry up and push so you could so they can hurry up and be finished with you. But that's why I did choose the OBGYN. And again, if you want to know why I chose that, I have a video up. Go check it out. Go take a look at it, comment on it. So I wanted a non-rush, situation, and I wanted to try the natural birthing, okay, with no medications. All right, so we get on the freeway. My body naturally starts to push as soon as we get on the freeway. So I'm like, oh my God. I'm telling my husband, I take my seatbelt off, right? Because I feel my body, I feel my body pushing. I feel the baby coming. I feel him, right? So I'm like, oh my God, I take my seatbelt off. So I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh my God, we're not going to make it. We ain't going to make it. We are not going to make it to the thing. I'm like, he's going to have to pull over on the side of the thing on the freeway. Because I'm about to the baby is coming. That baby is pushing, right? So then maybe like, okay. So then maybe like, because now look, it takes us about 30, 35 minutes, 40 minutes to, because the birthing center was in Santa Clarita, right by Magic Mountain, right? And I live in the valley, okay? So um, it took about like 40, like about 30, something, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes, right? It's 30 45 minutes. I'm like, we are not gonna make it. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, I'm not in my seatbelt. I don't have my seatbelt on. I'm like turning around like during the trip, maybe about 20 minutes in. I'm sitting in the seat, right? My husband is like sitting there too. He is nervous as hell. Do you hear me? He is super nervous. He's so nervous. He's so nervous, right? Mind you, we got the GPS on, right? So you know the GPS, you know the Siri, the iPhone, the person, the GPS tell you exactly what to do, how to do it, or whatever. He listens to it all the time. This big dummy gets off the freeway, like get on it, off on the exit. He's like, "Oh, is this the way?" I'm like, thinking to myself, like, what did GPS say? Like, what you mean is this the way? Like, did GPS tell you to get off over there? I couldn't believe he did that or whatever. So that took time out, right? And mind you, I'm still pushing, and I'm trying to sit in the seat. I'm annoyed because he acted dumb, like he don't know how to follow no GPS. He getting off on the freeway on the wrong thing, on the wrong exit. He turns around, he do it again. So he do it twice, right? Now, mind you, that's taking time, and I'm over, and I'm like, look, you need to get it together. I said, because I am about to have this baby, okay? And these mistakes that you're making can really cost me. We got this baby in this car right now. So you need to get it together. Oh my God, I was so annoyed or whatever because he couldn't even follow GPS. Okay. So, and I'm just like, I'm not telling you, my body is naturally pushing. All right. I can feel the baby coming up. Boom. Finally, we get there. We get to the birth center. So as soon as we get to the birth center, I'm like, I had like a dress on or whatever. I planned on getting in the water. I did not make it into the water. I barely made it into the door, right? So as soon as I came in, I already knew. Like I said, look, I said, did you run my water? I said, did you run the water? She's like, yeah, I already have it run or whatever. I was like, okay. So I'm about to head for the test. She's like, no, let me check you. I was like, he is coming. I was like, he coming right now. He coming. And so she was like, because like I said, on the way there, I was trying to just focus and trying to stop my body from pushing. Because my body was just naturally pushing. I wasn't sitting there pushing. My cervix was, my uterus, my cervix, it was strong. It was contracting. It was pushing him out. I'm telling you, it was like, whoa. It's like, whoa. And so I'm like, no. I'm telling the midwife, I'm like, look. I'm like, can we get in the tub? She's like, oh, let me check you. I'm like, oh, Lord. So I'm like, all right. So I get on the bed or whatever, let her check me, right? So as soon as she stick her hand up there, she feel the head. I'm like, she's like, okay. She's like, I feel the head. Let's get in the water, right? She's like, can you get in the water? I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah, let me try, right? If I tell you, I I got off the bed, right? When I went to go put one leg off the bed, as soon as I did that, the baby head, I breached. The baby head popped out. So she's like, the head is here. I'm like, no, she's short like, you know. Yeah. So she's like, the head, oh Lord. As soon as she said the head, I kid you not, let me tell you something. I wish I had no time to set up a camera because I had just walked in the door. I had no time to get anything done. The head, his head came out, and then, I mean, maybe 2 seconds later, not even. I kid you not even. His whole body came out. His whole self came out. He came flying out like a torpedo, what I tell you. It wasn't no slow thing at all. As soon as his head breached, he came flying out like a AK shooting out rounds. Do you hear me? I swear to God, like this, my son just came. He squirted out. He flew out like Superman. I'm not kidding you. Midwife was like, damn. I was like, damn, because it went by so quickly. So it was 4:07 a.m. My son had made it. Guess what? It went by so quick. My husband missed it. Yeah. He was outside in the car. He was outside bringing the stuff in. He didn't even see it. When he came in bringing the first bag in, because I came in and then he went to the car to go grab bags or whatever, right? My stuff. He came in, the second midwife, Narissa, she was like, oh yeah, she was like, go meet your son. He was like, what? He's like, huh? She's like, yeah, go meet your son or whatever. He came in, baby was all out. He was on my chest or whatever. And I was just like, ooh, I couldn't believe it. So I couldn't. I was so overjoyed, but I was so like not tired. Well, I probably was tired, but I wasn't tired. The pain was very excruciating. Okay, I almost gave up. I did. I almost gave up because it was a lot. It was a lot. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was a lot of pain. It was a lot, especially at the end. I almost literally gave up. I did. I almost gave up. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. But I stuck in there and I did it. And it was well worth it. It was so well worth it. The experience was eye-opening. It was like I died and was born again. I promise you. Like, it was like a spiritual thing for me. It really let me know, it really just let me know what I'm made of, for sure, that I feel like anything is possible. And you know what? Women that labor, and I'm not taking anything from any woman that has babies, because it's tough. It's tough to carry the baby. It's tough, especially when you overdo. When you like 41 and 42 weeks, that's misery. You're living in misery, okay? Because your body, everything hurts. You can't walk. You can't do this. You're irritated. You just, Lord, you're just ready to have your body back, and it's just crazy. But I don't take anything from any woman that gives birth, because it's a tough situation to carry for 9 months, and it's a beautiful situation too, but it's challenging. For us women, it's hard, but it goes to another level. If you're one that that labors, that can labor and do that naturally, baby, you a whole gangster out here. And the Crips and the Bloods probably don't want to fuck with you. I'm just telling you. Like, they should, because it's on another level. I'm just, baby, because we on go-go status, like, straight up. It's just another thing. Because the pain that you endure all that time, I had a quick labor. I had like 4 hours. Like I said, I really started to go into labor about 12. Around 12, I had my son at 4:07 a.m. So I was in labor for 4 hours, basically. And it was crazy. It was crazy, but I wouldn't change it. I almost had my baby in a car, and literally my husband, he missed it, and had he probably not made those mistakes of getting off the freeway twice, not listening to Cicely, not listening to this series, GPS directions, he probably would have been able to come inside, because that would have bought us just a little bit more time, to be at the birthing center. But he messed up. And so, yeah, other than that, now, and one other thing, what I am grateful for is that the preparation that I did, as far as like with my cervix and doing vitamin E oil, I put vitamin E